Welcome and hello from Alex, with a story from r/MaliciousCompliance, where an ex's demanding request leads to unexpected consequences. Coming up next is a story from Mrs. Knockers81. When my ex learned to not ask me to do anything for him anymore. A bit of a backstory. I divorced my ex a little over 9 years ago after 14 years of marriage. I won't go into the specifics as to why, but suffice it to say he was a lying, cheating jerk. Early on during the marriage, I tended to not be all that assertive until I finally had my fill and grew a backbone. He hated that. He did not like hearing the word no from me or in doing things my own way. So fast forward to a month after we were officially divorced. He was in his new place and I was in my house, formerly the house we shared, with our sons, but he still had a ton of his stuff there. Stuff I didn't want even though I paid for a lot of it, but stuff I knew he really wanted. He finally reached out and demanded. Not asked, demanded I send him his stuff. Just toss it all in boxes and send it over to him. His exact words. Mind you, he was only about 10 miles away from me at that point and could have easily come over to do it himself. He didn't want to do that because he'd have to see me, something he was actively trying not to do. Cue the malicious compliance. Now a lot of what he had were collectibles. No details, but some of it was fairly expensive and fragile. So I did as he asked. Correction, demanded. I tossed it all into numerous boxes. Now some of the truly expensive items. I did take great care in packing them, only because I knew my sons would probably eventually want them. But for the stuff I knew my ex really wanted and care a lot about, nah. I just tossed it all in a box without a care in the world. Now I did inspect everything, and while I just dumped them in boxes, nothing was damaged by me. I also took pictures of it to prove it. So once I closed them all up, I told him to either to get his ass over to pick it up or get someone to do it for him. He got someone to do it. Now I was not at the house when this person picked everything up, but my sons and sister were. They did not know how everything was packed. They only showed him the boxes. They told me that the person who picked up the boxes quite literally just tossed them into the back of his pickup without a care in the world and then sped away. Later that night I got a call from my ex who started calling me a bitch for destroying all his stuff. I told him that everything was fine before I closed the boxes up and I had proof of it. I then said that maybe next time be a bit nicer to me when making requests. And reminded him he demanded that I toss it all in boxes, but he didn't tell me to be gentle in doing so. I hung up on him and proceeded to enjoy my celebratory glass of wine that evening, hoping that he was enjoying the shattered remains. Opie's revenge on their demanding ex is both satisfying and clever. By complying with their ex's demand to pack up his belongings without care, Opie effectively demonstrates the consequences of his disrespectful behavior. The ex's reaction serves as a fitting conclusion, highlighting the repercussions of treating others poorly. Coming up next is a story from GooierSquirrel. When I was a kid, I let a baseball hit me in the face to prove a point. Was playing catch with my dad and he kept telling me you don't need to move your glove. I will put the ball in it, and he was getting increasingly annoyed with me. In hindsight, he probably meant I was just moving around too much. But nonetheless, I got tired of him telling me to stop moving my glove, so when he threw the ball to me, I held completely still and let the ball smash into my face, giving me a bloody nose and a nice bruise. Lol. He immediately asked, why didn't you try to catch it? And while I was trying to pull myself together, I said, you told me not to move my glove. You said you would throw the ball right to it. He was absolutely dumbfounded, probably because he was coming to terms that his kid might be stupid. Lol. Opie's childhood tale of letting a baseball hit them in the face to prove a point to their dad is both humorous and a bit daring. While it's certainly a memorable way to make a point, one could argue that there might have been better ways to communicate their frustration with their dad's instructions. However, the sheer shock and bewilderment Opie's dad experienced at the unexpected outcome adds an amusing twist to the story. It's a reminder of the unpredictable nature of childhood antics and the sometimes humorous misunderstandings between parents and kids. Coming up next is a story from Little Blue Ghost, and if you like the video so far, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. Treat your employees like garbage. Enjoy an extra 100+ emails a day. I am finally leaving my toxic job for a better opportunity. My narcissistic boss treats everyone under her like shit and is generally rude, condescending, and miserable to work for. We work in a field where we are constantly bombarded by salespeople, many of whom are extremely persistent and borderline rude. I sometimes get over 100 emails a day from such salespeople, not to mention phone calls, but I have specific rules set up in my Outlook so that they mostly go straight to my junk folder. My boss is not so good at Outlook or technology in general, so she does not know how to do this. She would often scream at me to find emails for her because somehow she could not even figure out how the search function worked. When I resigned, she told me to notify every representative I am regularly in contact with that I am leaving and that she is the new point of contact until they find a replacement for me. I've spent the last week providing each and every salesperson with her email and direct dial. Good luck getting rid of those. Opie's revenge on a toxic boss is both satisfying and clever. With the boss's lack of tech skills and demanding nature, Opie redirected sales emails to her inbox upon leaving, showcasing the consequences of her behavior. It's a brilliantly executed act of passive resistance, offering a taste of the frustration Opie endured while working under such toxic leadership. Coming up next is a story from Octohand. Threatened to sue me. Go for it. First time posting here. Had a hard time deciding what subreddit to post this story to. Please let me know if this story is more appropriate somewhere else. Also, English isn't my native language, but here goes. BACKSTORY. I have a 5-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We broke up about 5 years ago. We had some ups and downs during our marriage. We never argued or fought per se, but we did negotiate a lot with strong emotions and opinions. Yet, we always managed to find some common ground to stand on together. That's why it kinda caught me by surprise when she told me she wanted a divorce. I cried for a couple days, went fishing, and then started planning on how to figure things out. Because neither of us had enough income at that point to keep our car or house, we agreed that I should take care of selling the car and she would get a realtor to start selling our home. Well, turns out I had to do both. Anyway, we had more debt than money, and she tried to leave all the debt to me while she would start from a clean slate. I wouldn't let her, and I made sure everything we owned and every bit of debt would be split evenly. We agreed that our daughter would live with both of us, splitting the time evenly as our daughter had the right to having 2 parents. We promised each other to act civil. This didn't last long. We also had agreed that since our salaries were pretty even, neither of us would pay child support. We also agreed that she would take care of buying most of the clothes etc. for our kid, since she would get the child benefit, about $100 divided by month here in Finland paid by the government to support raising offspring. After the breakup, she started mail ordering new furniture for herself, even before she had found a new apartment for herself. Kinda obvious, but she really didn't have the money for it either. 2 weeks later, she moved out. A week later, I heard from our kid that she had a new man. I didn't really care, just raised some eyebrows. She would often call in sick to her work, usually bullshit reasons, and when her boss gave some feedback, she didn't fix her attitude but instead she just quit. She applied to a school and got in. After about 2 months, she quit the school too and started demanding me to pay child support. We got a professional to weigh in, and agreed that I still wouldn't pay a dime to her, because she herself had caused her income to collapse. As a goodwill act, I offered to pay for our daughter's insurance. I thought the matter was settled, but then she got pregnant for her new man a few months after our breakup. After our divorce was final, there is a 6 months reconsideration time before the judge calls it. She married her new man. These things empowered her into demanding for money again and again and again. So now that you know what kind of person we're dealing with. The case. Last fall she yet again demanded money to support our kid. She was working again. And I knew she used our kid as an excuse because she had expressed envy towards my ability to control my finances to a point that even when I had the same amount money, I could eat in restaurants, etc. I told her that if she needed child support for legitimate reasons, I would of course help, but all the expenses would have to be calculated properly to know the right amount she would need. Instead, she demanded I would pay her $200 divided by month and she would take care of all the expenses regarding our daughter. She didn't have any real reasons for the demand, other than her need for control. She had always been someone who wanted to have the last say in things. On top of her demand, this time she threatened to sue me if I didn't pay her. I pretty much laughed at it, until I got a message from her lawyer. At that point I messaged my ex telling her from now on I would only discuss this matter via our lawyers and started looking for a lawyer myself. During the next couple months things started to look really bad for her case. After getting the papers from the court, I noticed her case was based on false data. She and her lawyer hadn't asked for my income and expenses before they sued me, and she had estimated my income to be a lot more than it actually was. Also, my expenses were estimated to be smaller than actual. At this point I messaged my ex and asked if she's sure she doesn't want to settle. She didn't, so I decided to go with some malicious compliance and didn't try again. After we both calculated every income and expense of both parties with the help of our lawyers, I and my lawyer confirmed that she had enough money to raise our kid. Not only that, it turned out she actually had more money than me for it. Monthly income minus living costs, medicine, etc., etc. I burst out laughing at the absurdity of her case, even more so when she tried to twist things to her favor by sending false evidence to us and the judge, which we noticed instantly. A couple days go by, and my lawyer calls me. She had gotten a call from my ex's lawyer, saying he had noticed my ex is lying and the whole case is based on lies, and the lawyer wants to settle. It looked like my MC wouldn't go through, until my lawyer got a message that for some reason they won't settle after all. Game on. The judgment. We went to court. The judge was annoyed but composed. He asked my ex's lawyer about their demands. The lawyer started by saying, "First I am going to tell a bit of the backstory," and the judge cut him off, telling him to just state the demands. After a few seconds of silence, the lawyer told the judge no demands. The judge was both dumbfounded and livid, asking then why are we here? To which my lawyer said something along the lines of that's what we're asking too. Then the judge asked my ex's lawyer to be clear, didn't you want to settle? And the lawyer sheepishly told the judge that my ex wouldn't agree to settle. They were so embarrassed. It was so glorious, like some kind of divine karma being served right at my Karen of an ex. The judge ordered us to go to a meeting room for 20 minutes and to come back with a settlement agreement. Because she had more money, we negotiated that she would pay for our kids' hobbies, insurance, etc. to compensate for the difference. The judge verified it, and my party left the courtroom very happy. My ex, on the other hand, was balancing between being angry and embarrassed. The fallout. A couple weeks ago, my ex demanded that we would make changes to the schedule on how our kid would swap homes. I declined, saying we have an agreement. She threatened to sue me, to which I just reminded her about the last time she wanted to get what she wants by suing me, asking if she really wants to do it again. She got mad, and I just ignored it. About a week ago, she sent me a message saying that she had a fight with her husband. Police were called because she attacked him and she wanted a divorce. The police had to inform Child Protective Services, since there were kids present, mine included. Basically, her whole life has gone down the drain. 2 kids to different fathers, 2 divorces before she has even turned 30, a lot of debt and expenses. And looks like our kid will be spending the majority of her time at my place, which is what our kid has wanted for the past 2-ish years. Wow, what a roller coaster of a story. Opie's journey through the challenges of co-parenting with an ex who seems to have a knack for stirring up trouble is both captivating and relatable. Opie's initial efforts to maintain fairness and civility in the face of their ex's demands show admirable resilience and commitment to their child's well-being. The way Opie navigated the legal battle with strategic precision, uncovering discrepancies and ultimately securing a favorable outcome, is nothing short of impressive. It's a testament to their resourcefulness and determination to stand their ground against unjust demands. The courtroom scene, with its twist of divine karma served to Opie's ex, is a satisfying moment of vindication after enduring unwarranted threats and accusations. And the aftermath, while unfortunate for Opie's ex, seems to offer a glimmer of hope for stability and better prospects for their child's future. Overall, Opie's story is a testament to the importance of standing up for what's right, even in the face of adversity, and finding strength in the pursuit of fairness and justice. That wraps up r/MaliciousCompliance. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to visit my Spotify channel, link is in the description, so you can listen to the best Reddit story while being outside, and remember to hit that subscribe button.